You got more lights we can turn on or what? Make sure they don't fall asleep on me. Boy, Tim had a lot to say this morning.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's good. I was doing a lot of thinking. I was listening to Joe and Tim. And probably you're the same way. Things come into your mind as you're hearing them. And sometimes you'd like to share them, but you don't. You're probably one of those people that feel like, you shouldn't share, But really, that's what we're about as a family, as a church family, is coming together and sharing, using the gifts that God has given to us. And also in worshiping together. One day we're all going to be worshiping together in heaven, aren't we? Yeah. The closer that we get to the Lord and draw near to Him, the more that is a reality to us. Sometimes we say it, but it's not a reality to us if we're not drawing near the Lord and seeking Him on a regular basis, feeding on His Word, talking to Him. You know, I got up this morning about 4:30, and I went out and did my routines that I normally do, and I got a cup of coffee, black, this morning. And I went into our family room. It's dark, and I kind of like it that way, actually. I like it dark and just sit there with the Lord and drink my cup of coffee and talk with Him. And those are precious times when we can have silence and just talk with Him and bring everything to Him in prayer. Talk to Him about our flaws, the things that we have trouble with, the things we're struggling with. Talk to Him about the things we're thankful for and appreciative of. And then He enters right into that. And He will bring other things to our mind that we need to talk with Him about. And we don't have to, say some rote kind of a prayer. Or a lot of times people tell me, well, I don't pray very well. That doesn't even enter into it. God's not saying, well, wait a minute, you didn't pray the right form or whatever. You just talked to me. And I'll talk back to you. I'll bring my thoughts into your mind. And that's what He wants for us. And as we get closer to Him, we'll get closer to one another. And we'll begin to care about one another with His love, because His heart begins to be formed in us. How many would like to have God's heart formed in you? Okay? Here's what He'll do. He'll begin to put His thoughts in your mind, and He'll begin to put His desires within our hearts. And He'll talk to us about things that we're going off in, that we shouldn't be. And how many here know when they're doing something they shouldn't be doing? How many already know it? You don't need me to come and visit you and say, well, you shouldn't be doing it. You already know it, right? You know exactly what it is, but sometimes we don't want to let go of it. You know what we hold on to it with? Our hearts. Picture your heart as a hand, and you're holding on to something. Look what it does. Look here. When you're holding on to something God doesn't want you to hold on to, we do it that way. Now, how's He going to pour His love through and give you His amazing grace? See, He wants to pry those hands or that heart open, that His grace and love can flow through it. That's what He desires for us. And sometimes the things that we're holding on to Some of the habits are good, some of them are bad. How many here know bad habits you get into? You pretty aware of most of them? What about eating a lot of salt? Is that good for you? I would salt food before I even, Cindy put it in my plate, put it on the table, it's right in front of me, it looks great. Where's that salt shaker? You know what it took me to wake up a little bit? It's a heart attack. Yeah. And sometimes it takes those kind of things in our life to wake us up to be willing to change a habit. And it's a lot easier to kick back in an easy chair rather than thinking about going out and doing your daily walk as an older guy like me. Right? Or if you're a younger guy, working out. I pretend I am at times and I want to work out. And I'm going somewhere with this. Hold on. You've got habits in your life that you know about that God would say to you, there's a better way of living so that you will be well physically, better physically, as well as spiritually. You think that God just cares about the spiritual things, how to study your Bible. He cares about you physically as well. Because your physical health and spiritual health are one and the same, oftentimes. They're tied together. And God wants you, let me ask you this, do you think God wants you in tune with Him in every way? Do you think He wants you in good health physically? Well, then present your body to Him. Notice it says that, present your body to Him. And allow Him to make you the best you can be, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. If we got some coaches, how many coaches we got here that have coached ball? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? As a coach, don't you want those young people that you're working with to be with you mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually? Don't you want them in tune with you? Why would God, who is the greatest coach you can imagine, why would God not want you the same way? He would, wouldn't He? Yeah? So what does that require? Some discipline. Presenting yourself to Him and having a discipline to do something more than once. Do it on a daily basis, or every 3 days, or every other day. But start a good habit and put off a bad habit. Put off the old man and put on the new man, or woman, whatever might be here. Right? And so God is calling us to be His ambassadors, to be His soldiers, to be His priests. God is calling us to get in shape in every way for Him. I believe that's God's heart for us. Right, Timmy?